an ancient order of Force wielders devoted to the dark side of the Force. The Sith practice hate, deception, and greed. Some of the most notable practitioners are Darth Vader, Darth Sidious, Darth Plagueis, and Darth Tenebrous. But not only do they have the dark side of the Force on their side, but they also have the arsenal of Sith weapons at their disposal. Today, we're going to be looking at a few of them. So let's start off by going route A and talking about the most obvious Sith weapon, the lightsaber. Yes, we know this weapon can be wielded by Jedi too, but Sith lightsabers are distinguishable by their crimson blades. Lightsabers are not naturally the red colour though. When the kyber crystals are used during the construction of the lightsaber, it forms some kind of bond with the creator, with the blade taking on either a blue or a green colour. On certain occasions, they have been known to produce purple or yellow blades too. They can even be purified and turned to pure white. But what about red? Well, red lightsaber blades are produced through a process known as bleeding. To bleed a lightsaber crystal, a person must use the dark side of the Force to pour rage, hate, fear, and pain into a kyber crystal. The crystal will fight back, recognizing the process to be unnatural. It will show the person their own fears, hopes, dreams, memories, and images of people they love. Even the mighty Darth Vader was shaken to the core while bleeding his own lightsaber crystal. But if the person's connection with the dark side is strong enough, it will corrupt the purity of the kyber crystal and a red blade will be produced. Only a true Sith has that kind of malicious strength. While red lightsaber blades are not intrinsically stronger than lightsabers of any other colour, they are a testament to the wielder's connection to the dark side of the Force. It shows that if they were strong enough to bleed a crystal of their own, they will certainly be a force to be reckoned with in battle. It is seen as a rite of passage, a gateway to becoming a true Sith. If you are strong enough and determined enough to create a weapon that only a true dark side user can handle, then you're strong enough to bear the Sith moniker. Up next, we're going to talk about Darth Vader's armour. Granted, maybe the armour itself isn't a weapon, but it is the life support system of the Chosen One himself, in Sith form at least. He was a strong, blunt, brute force object, and the iron fist of the Empire. So what do we know of the machine that houses this unstoppable Sith Lord? Well, first up, we need to go back and look at how he ended up cladded in this all-black suit of armour. Left for dead on the banks of the lava river by his former master Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, now known as Darth Vader, was rescued by his new master, Darth Sidious. Vader's injuries were so bad that without immediate treatment he would die. His flesh was scorched, his lungs were burned, he had lost an arm and both legs. He was barely recognisable as the person that he had once been, yet he clung to life. Sidious rushed him to a medical bay on Coruscant, where he had his burns treated, as best they could, new cybernetic limbs attached, and was encased in a specially designed life support system suit. The suit regulated everything from his blood pressure to his breathing, ensuring Vader's survival. But life in the suit was anything but comfortable. Sensors spiked into his flesh, probes and wires stabbed into his body from all angles, and a control panel pierced deep into his torso. He could barely remove his helmet in case his scarred lungs failed and he suffocated. It really must have been a horrific suit to wear. Yet it served a purpose other than keeping Vader alive. That pain helped him maintain his connection to the dark side of the Force. He was never able to forget the horrific injuries he'd suffered, and he was constantly reminded of them by the excruciating stabbing, tearing, and burning sensations that the suit provided. But this made him strong, and his connection to the dark side was second only to his master. He did have some reprieve, though. Vader was able to remove the suit in order to be submerged in a Bacta tank, which helped heal some of the more superficial wounds on his body. Similarly, he had a pressurized meditation chamber where he could remove his helmet and breathe relatively freely. But there were upsides to the suit. In battle, it provided quite a lot of protection. Despite being chunky and pretty inflexible, Vader's force skills allowed him to move powerfully and fluidly in it. It could absorb lower-powered blaster shots and even deflect a lightsaber hit in certain areas. Combine this kind of invulnerability with Vader's natural rage and power, and you can see how this suit of armor really helped create one of the most powerful Sith weapons that the galaxy had ever seen. Okay, let's move on to something a little more obscure. Sounding like something you might find on a farm, the Force Harvester is a large swirling globe that produced a horrifically destructive energy field that drained the living force from anyone within its vicinity. The living force is what gives a Jedi their power, so by stripping them of that ability, the Sith can make them unremarkable, powerless, vulnerable. Just imagine the advantage the Sith would have if their sworn enemies were incapable of stopping them. The Force Harvester was used primarily as the power source for the Dark Reaper superweapon. This weapon would harness the power of the Force Harvester and focus it into a single beam that could destroy anything it was aimed at. Originally created in secret by ancient Sith Lord Exar Kun during the Old Sith Wars, whispers of the Force Harvester and the Dark Reaper eventually reached the ears of the Jedi, and Kun was forced to scatter his creations across the galaxy to avoid them being captured, or worse, destroyed. So for the next several millennia, the Force Harvester remained hidden deep beneath the piles of intergalactic debris on the scrap world of Raxus Prime. It was all but forgotten, and rumours of this weapon had faded into myth, that is, until it was discovered during the Clone Wars. The Confederacy of Independent Systems uncovered the device, and after eventually figuring out its incredible significance, and taken to a moon of Kashyyyk. There it would be studied and tested on Wookiee tribes that lived on the moon. The Republic tried to put a halt to these tests, however Sith Lord Count Dooku escaped with the Force Harvester, this time taking it to the planet Thule. There it was reunited with the Dark Reaper superweapon, and once the Force Harvester was installed, preparations for use were made. Time was limited though, as the Republic army, led by Jedi heroes Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi, were on their way to deal with the situation. A battle erupted, with the Separatist forces battling fiercely to prevent the Republic and the Jedi from getting to the nearly fully functional superweapon. As simultaneous space and ground battles raged on, Anakin managed to track down Count Dooku, who was guarding the Dark Reaper and Force Harvester. The Sith Lord fled, and after a brief battle with several guards, Anakin was able to destroy the superweapon once and for all. While its destruction was a significant blow for the Separatists, and more importantly the Sith, it is still undeniably a cruel yet terrifying effective Sith weapon that, had it been fully unleashed during the Clone Wars, could have changed the tide of the war and the future of the galaxy forever. Up next we have the Scepter of Ragnos. This powerful and ancient artifact was created by Sith Lord Marka Ragnos, and it had the power to siphon and store dark side energy that could be unleashed for either good or, more often than not, evil. The scepter was constructed over 5,000 years before the Battle of Yavin, as seen in Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, and it was based around the design of a sword with a forked crest at the end of it. Once charged with dark side energy, it could fire either beams of force energy or a powerful pulse blast at its targets. Its unique power could also infuse ordinary beings with force powers, and to add a horrifically terrifying twist, the scepter was able to infuse a dead body with enough force power to bring it back to life. The scepter had a few hidden surprises too. When it came to close quarters combat, the handle hid Ragnos' Sith sword, which could be slid out and wielded separately. However, after Marka Ragnos' death, the scepter found its way into a collection on the planet Commenta, where its significance was forgotten. But thousands of years later, a cult of Sith fanatics, led by Dark Jedi Tavion Axmis, rediscovered the weapon, and after killing its current owner and taking the scepter for themselves, set about making plans to achieve their ultimate goal, reanimating the long-dead Marka Ragnos. But first they used the scepter's power to grant force abilities to those in the cult, giving them the same power as a fully trained Jedi. After draining the force power from entire planets with the scepter, Axmis and her cult went to the tomb of Ragnos on the ancient Sith world of Korriban. Unbeknownst to them though, Jedi Knight Jaden Kor was waiting for them. Kor and Axmis battled, and it seemed like Axmis was beaten. However, at the last second, she directed the power of the scepter into the sarcophagus of the ancient Dark Lord. The spirit of Ragnos rose, just as Axmis had planned. However, needing a physical form, it immediately took control of her body. Ragnos, using the possessed body of Axmis, dueled Kor using his powerful scepter. While the battle was intense and drawn out, Kor eventually got the upper hand and managed to destroy the ancient weapon, in doing so drawing Ragnos' spirit back to his sarcophagus and taking away the force powers of the cultists. For the final and deadliest Sith weapons, we're going to get a little bit abstract, because without doubt one of the more powerful tools in the Sith arsenal is secrecy and patience. While Sith are impulsive, evil, and quick to kill and destroy, they also have the patience to wait in the shadows and plan their next move, or their next 10 moves. This is what allowed Darth Sidious to become one of the most powerful Sith Lords in the entire history of the galaxy. If he had been impatient and made his move before the time was right, there's a chance that he would have been discovered and defeated before he even got the chance to rise to power. But through patience, social and political maneuvering, and maintaining the facade of a friendly and trustworthy senator and then chancellor, he was able to position himself perfectly to take his shot and make it count. He spent decades getting all his dominoes in a row until the time was right to tip the first one and make his move. This patience and planning saw the death of billions of clones and innocent people across the galaxy, the rise of an empire that lasted for almost 25 years, the resurgence of the Sith's power, and ultimately the annihilation of the Jedi Order. In Darth Sidious's time as Emperor, he saw the construction of not one but 2 Death Stars, the partial destruction of the planets Jeddah and Scarif, and the obliteration of Alderaan, a planet that was home to upwards of 2 billion innocent people. The entire galaxy was pushed to the brink of breaking under his dictatorship, and all this is thanks to his patience and secrecy. Before the emergence of Darth Sidious and his apprentice Darth Maul, the Jedi were fully convinced the Sith had been extinct for over a millennium, but they had in fact been biding their time and growing in power. This allowed the Jedi Order to let their guard down and allow their hubris to get the better of them, believing their sworn enemies to have been long extinct. Even wise Jedi Master Yoda, who was nearly 900 years old, had grown relatively unbelieving of the fact that the Sith could make a return. So while it might not be a weapon as instantly powerful as a lightsaber, or mystical as the Scepter of Ragnos, the Sith's patience and secrecy has seen the death and suffering of billions upon billions of people, making it inarguably the single most deadly and powerful weapon that they could ever hope to possess. So there you have it, that's our list of the 5 deadliest Sith weapons in Star Wars. Do you agree with our list, or would you have added something else to it? Be sure to let us know in the comments section down below. Also, giving this video a like would be really appreciated, as it shows us that you love what we do. And until next time, may the Force be with you.